Take care of
Get
yourself.
well soon, ma'am.
Thank you. Good morning, class 7A. Good morning and a very warm welcome to your second class of 2022. And as you already know, we have already started with study of Akbar. Okay, I'm just increasing the mic volume a little bit in case you can't understand what I'm saying or have any difficulty. Let me know. I will repeat and I will explain it to you all again. Okay. Well, last day we were learning about the great Mughal. We started learning about the great Mughal ruler Akbar, and we are about to see how he becomes such a great ruler eventually, and then learn about him more in detail. So, firstly, as you already know, his father, Humayun, died in an accidental fall from the library staircase. And second time when Humayun won back Delhi, just within 1 year of that, he fell down from the staircase and he died. And the entire empire went into the hands of a young teenage Akbar. Now, you know, Akbar's childhood was not like any normal childhood of you and me and any other one, any other person who gets to go to school, who gets to learn things. No, because his father, when he was born, till the time his father, gained back the kingdom, most of his childhood was on the run. Means he had to be kept hidden and in proper places safely so that nobody captures him, and all those things had to be done. And his father and mother was
Then he get back his throne.
huh.
Ma'am, when Akbar was born, Humayun didn't get back his throne.
Mhm.
There was a little difficulties with him.
No, then Humayun was on the run, and Humayun was running and saving his life. Also, Humayun was trying to gather an army. Humayun was trying to gather an army, and Humayun was trying to raise an army. And Humayun was trying that so that, he can gain back, he can capture back Delhi once again. So Akbar's childhood was not like a normal one, going to school and learning, and like all of us, he had to be kept under protection so that there is no threat to his life. There was always a threat to his life and all those. Anyway, so Humayun gains back Delhi, the throne of Delhi. He sits, but he dies accidentally, and the throne passes on to the hands of teenage Akbar. Now, teenage Akbar was himself not able to manage the kingdom so well. So he did not know anything properly because he never got any proper education, proper training also, well training before that. So the empire was managed on his behalf by Humayun's very trusted friend and a part of Humayun's army, whose name was what?
Bairam Khan.
Bairam
Ma'am, can I say a fun fact on Bairam Khan?
Yes, please.
Yes, ma'am. Bairam Khan also served in the army of Babur. So he literally served 3 generations of the Mughal dynasty.
Very true, absolutely. Bairam Khan had joined when Babur was there, and then he was there with Humayun throughout his struggle period, and hence he became a very trusted friend. Yeah, trusted friend of Humayun. Then when Akbar sat on the throne, Akbar, was being tutored. Akbar was being trained by Bairam Khan, and Bairam Khan became his regent. Regent means he started taking the decisions. Initially, it was not Akbar who was taking the decision. Actually, his name was Jalaluddin Muhammad. Akbar, the title he got a little later in life. Jalaluddin Muhammad, he was not the one who was taking decisions, but Bairam Khan was. And Bairam Khan knew how to rule a kingdom well. He was very stern, very strict, managed the army very well, and Bairam Khan took every step to make sure that the empire becomes strong. He defeated Hemu in the second battle of Panipat. If Hemu wouldn't have been defeated, it is believed once again Hindu rule would have started in Delhi, because Hemu was a Hindu himself. He wanted to take advantage of the young age and inexperienced Akbar, and thought that he will easily defeat. But Bairam Khan gave a tough fight, and as I was telling you last day, the second battle of Panipat was a very fierce battle.
His eyes was not covered, and the Mughals
Yes.
called the
So
best
his
archer.
entire, Hemu was sitting on a high elephant in the war, during the war time, in a high elephant, and he was very, his army was winning. He was very good. It was not easy to kill him. So the only way, the Mughal army was already losing. The only way the Mughal army could win and defeat the Hemu's army was if they targeted the leader. So Bairam Khan decided that this is the only chance. If the leader is killed, the army will be shattered. Hence, only Hemu's eyes were visible through his mask. Have you seen those armors that they wear, like this, covered from nose?
Yes, ma'am.
So
Only
the
there was
eyes
sunglasses
were
The
from
eyes
that.
are be open to see.
Absolutely. So you will see, just to see what is going on. And the archer of the Mughal army, it is said that the archer took the shot, and as a miracle, maybe that was what God's plan was. The arrow came, pierced his eye, and went to his head. And it was,
He was the best
And he
archer,
was
that's why
dead.
he could
He did.
yes.
No, he was black.
And that one moment
God.
changed the fate of Indian history. That one moment changed the fate of Mughal history, everything. And Hemu's army had, with their leader dead, the purpose was lost. Who will be the
Yes.
next king? What will happen? And the
Yes.
army became scattered, and Bairam Khan declared victory of Akbar.
Means who will become the next.
After that, Bairam Khan went on attacking place after place, both on eastern side of India and western side of India. And now he made the Mughal rule strong, not only in Delhi, but areas. He started spreading the rule. In the meantime, Akbar was growing up. Initially, he was a little boy, like your age, 13, 14 years. With time, he started growing up. Now, imagine,
He's
if
2 years
you tell a
older than
boy of 13 years old, who is 13 years old, that you need to do this. Okay, I'm taking this decision. You just agree to it. Will that boy easily agree? Now, when the boy is 16, 17, will it be easy to persuade that boy?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. He will check it properly. He will look through it. He will put his eyes
He will
into
not
it.
only
Then
look
he
to it. Imagine 16, 17-year-old boys.
We will be responsible to take our own decisions.
We will
Yes.
be responsible. Does does boys and girls of who are of 16, 17, 18 years, they like being told, do this, do that, let us attack, let us do it this way, let us do it that way, this has to
No,
be done,
they
that has
won't
to be
like
done. So the
They won't
same
like it.
thing was happening here. As Akbar started
I'm old
growing
now.
up, Akbar realized that Bairam Khan was becoming very dominant in his nature, and he was taking the decisions even though Akbar himself was the king. Akbar was the king. He should take the decisions, and he saw Bairam Khan going on telling him that you need to do this, you need to do that. And with Bairam Khan there, the army, the other officers, they were not listening to Akbar, because Bairam Khan had been managing the kingdom for quite a few years in such a way, they started looking up to him as their leader for guidance and for any kind of suggestion, for listening. So
It is also said that he became very proud.
He became very dominant, and he became, the authority. It was like his
He
word was becoming more important than the
power.
real king. Akbar realized that his kingship was in danger because people were not really giving importance to him, that he is the real king, not Bairam Khan.
Yeah.
And also he realized this way Bairam Khan will become a threat to him. So in a very
Him-
tactful way, 1 minute, Soham, 1 minute. So in a very tactful way, what he did was, after a few years, when he grew up, Akbar told Bairam Khan that you go to Mecca. What is the journey to Mecca called? Very good. Hajj. Hajj. So he said that you have done enough service to the Mughal Empire. Hence,
Good.
today I am telling you that you are free from the service of the Mughals. Now Akbar took a very stern decision against Bairam Khan. He said that, but very tactfully, that I am very happy with your service. You have done a lot. You have done a lot for our kingdom and everything. But it's time. Like everybody takes retirement, you go on a pilgrimage to Mecca and you let it be, and you spend some time in the name of God, devote yourself, your life to God's service for now, and we will remember in Mughal Empire, we will remember you.
So he tactfully fired him.
Tactfully fired him and told him that
Got fired.
retire,
Instead
and
of
he
saying
told
that,
him
very
now
kind.
onwards, he simply said, now onwards, the entire empire will be in my control. So he became in 1556. The second battle was fought in, this was around 1562. I am talking about 1562 when this happened, and he sent Bairam Khan away. And this is again a very big mystery. Nobody knows. While Bairam Khan he did not know what to do, but ultimately Akbar was the legal and rightful king. He was not the king. He was just a regent. So Bairam Khan had to withdraw himself. He had to leave his position. It is believed when he was going on the journey to Mecca, on the road, Bairam Khan was killed. So nobody knew.
Assassinated, ma'am.
He was assassinated. He was assassinated and nobody knew who killed him, because of course Bairam Khan ruled with a very, when he was making the Mughal Empire strong, he attacked many places.
I guess.
Bairam Khan had many enemies. The Rajputs and all, they were not at all happy with him. Some believe the Rajputs attacked. Some believe some people who had done wrong to him had done it. But there is another belief also.
Some Afghans.
But there is another belief also. Some say that Akbar couldn't directly remove him from the side. So he
Yes, ma'am. I believe Akbar killed him. Ma'am, I also
many
believe.
theories. See, there are many theories believed by different people, different
You
historians.
cannot tell Akbar him without
So
any
they
proof.
say
Why would he do that?
that since if Akbar directly orders that go and assassinate him, what is his mistake? He had made the empire strong. He had trusted officers. He had the army well in control. There were so many people who used to look up to Bairam Khan.
And after firing him,
But
he automatically
there might be
control and
enemies also
he
who
got what
know
he
that
wanted.
Bairam Khan is
Absolutely.
going this way.
If he orders Bairam Khan's assassination directly to the face, then those officers who are loyal to him will say that, oh, this is the outcome, then why should we follow you? There are beliefs like this also. Some say so. He tactfully said that you go on a pilgrimage, and then he sent an assassin to kill him on the journey.
Why don't people think that he reached Mecca?
No. He did not, because he really was killed on the journey. Now, who killed
Yes,
him? He was
Hassan.
There's
assassinated.
a proof that he was killed, right?
Yes,
He was
yes.
killed.
He was assassinated on the journey. He never reached Mecca. But who killed
Right.
him? How was he killed? That was always, there are many viewpoints on this. Like different people
Only
have
one
different
person
viewpoints.
knows. That
There
is,
are different viewpoints on this.
Bairam Khan himself.
only
who is
one
dead.
person knows it. That is Bairam.
Well, let's not,
Yeah, he's
for
dead.
us,
Rest in
we
peace.
will deal with fact, whatever we know. So since we know what, the fact that remains this, that Now in 1562, slowly Behram Khan was removed from the scene, and this was when Akbar really took charge of the empire. He took the total control of the empire in his hand. Okay, and now this Akbar, that he sat on the throne, he had big ideas about his kingdom, and he wanted to make, expand his kingdom, make it big, make it powerful, everything. So he started, not only capturing, his view was not only capturing new lands, but also to make sure that these people who are in his kingdom, they regard him as their ruler. They should not treat him as foreigners or as outsiders. They must consider him as their ruler as well. So the first target that Akbar realized, and the first thing that Akbar wanted to do was win over his biggest enemy and one big threat from the west. Who were they?
Rajputs.
Rajputs. Absolutely. The Rajputs.
Man, the battle of Haldia.
See, always.
We realized the Rajputs were very powerful. Right?
The Rajputs were
Rajputs
always, one thing, this we must remember, the Rajputs, yes, the problem with them have always been disunity. They have always been
Yes,
busy
ma'am.
fighting with each
Yes,
other.
ma'am.
But
Akbar made Rajput his that it was his finance minister and like this. He used Rajput.
he used the Rajputs. I'll not use the word he used the Rajputs. Well, I'm coming to that. See, Rajputs were a clan who were very brave, very, very brave. They never feared giving away their life for their motherland. But the problem was the disunity with each other. The kingdoms were always fighting with each other. Now, Akbar, Akbar was a very, what should I say? He was wise. We call him a wise king also because of his decisions like this, that as he started, when he sat and took control of the empire, he realized only fighting wars cannot be the solution. And everybody hating such a king, and he's just winning over by wars, and there is always a fight. This is not how he needs to run a kingdom. There has to be peace. There has to be prosperity in a kingdom. And he needs to have these brave Rajputs by his side, in his support, as his allies. Always having them as enemies is not going to help. So what happened was, he took, he decided that there are three ways. He thought about three ways to bring the Rajputs to his side. First and foremost, what he did was, he opened friendly relations with them. He said that, if you become my friend, if as a ruler, he said that you accept me as your king, as the king of kings, but you rule in your own kingdom. I will not interfere. Rather, if you accept me as the main king of Delhi and all, what will happen is, if there is any external attack to your kingdom, I will send the Mughal army to help you. Okay, so I'll send the Mughal army. The Mughal army will come and help you and protect your kingdom from enemies. In return, you have to accept me as your main king. So this way, we establish a friendly relation. We are there, and if we are in trouble, you are going to support us.
Yes, Nawab and
so friendly alliance. Secondly, what he did was, he was one Mughal. He became the first Mughal emperor who opened his court to Hindu officials as well. He did not discriminate between Hindus and Muslims as to who should get which position. About which ruler did you recently read this quality?
Sher Shah.
Sher Suri.
Very good. Sher Shah Suri. Just like Sher Shah Suri, he also adopted the policy of giving important positions to Hindu rulers in his kingdom.
Both Sher Shah Suri and Akbar gave good position to Hindus.
Yes, absolutely. And thirdly, we all know about Akbar's most famous wife. Who is she?
Jodha. Rani Jodha.
Jodhabai.
Jodha.
Jodhabai. Jodhabai's palace is
There was a
very
movie, ma'am.
beautiful.
Akbar. When there was a movie.
There is a movie called Jodha. Correct.
Yes.
He also called Jodha Akbar. If you see, so at the end of the day, what happened is Akbar, now he started establish. He did not destroy. In case of marriage also, one very important thing was he never said that I have to marry a girl of my religion only. He was open to it. If the Rajputs were okay, he married Rajput princesses, and the most famous being Jodhabai or Queen Jodha, who was his main queen.
He
And,
married more than one princess.
What was the question?
He married more than one princess.
Yes,
Yes.
he had many.
Yeah.
There were three main
That
wives.
time they were allowed.
1 minute. There were
That's
three.
It was
1
allowed.
minute.
Prince.
You
not
people
princess.
talk in between, which is not the right thing. Let me finish. Then raise your hand. I'll give you a chance. He had three main queens. And apart from those people, there were many in his many other they had in their kingdom palace and all. So three main queens there were there. So one was his childhood. His first wife was there. So I think her name was Begum Rukaya. Rukaya Begum was Akbar's first wife, and then Akbar. Yes, this is one more thing. We just learned about Bairam Khan. Akbar, when Bairam Khan died, Bairam Khan's wife, she had a little son. So they needed protection. To give Bairam Khan's son protection and all, Akbar had married Bairam Khan's widow. So Bairam Khan's wife, widow wife, and adopted their child. So she was, her name, if I'm not wrong, was Salima. So that was Akbar's second wife. And Jodha
Salima
was the
Sultan
third.
Begum.
Salima Sultana Begum. So Salima Begum was there, Rukaya Begum was there, and Jodha was there. So three was his, these three queens were his main queens. So Akbar had, of course, Bairam Khan had died, but Akbar did not let anything happen to his son. Okay, and he adopted and he took care of their son. Salima and Bairam Khan's son was given protection by Akbar, and that is one thing. But here he went into matrimonial alliances. Why? These matrimonial alliances were for political reasons. So we become what? Relatives. So when we are relatives, your, the daughter of your kingdom is now the queen of my kingdom. So we both are now relatives. We don't attack each other. Rather, we help each other in times of need. Okay, this way,
And that's why kings used to marry so many girls.
that's why kings used to marry so many times. Many times marriages were nothing but political unities, political what should I say, political decisions, so that I get your support, and in that way you are not going to attack my kingdom. I am also going to give you the position, and you accept me as the main thing. Because Jodhabai's, when Jodhabai was married, after that Jodhabai's in their kingdom, Jodhabai's relatives, Man Singh, okay, they were given high posts in Akbar's army. They were given high posts in Akbar's army. Bhagwan Das, Man Singh, these Rajput people, they were in high position in his army. But among all these Rajputs, did everyone forgive him? Did everyone accept him?
No, ma'am.
We
No,
know
ma'am.
about Rana Sanga, right? Rana Sanga
Yes.
and the enmity started back then. And Rana Sanga's descendant was Maharana Pratap. How many of you
Pratap
heard
Singh.
about his name?
Yes, ma'am. His
Ma'am.
horse Chetak.
Yes,
yes,
we had to recite a poem on his horse.
Yes,
Rana
yes.
Uday Singh was
in-
Maharana Pratap's father. Correct. Rana Uday.
Chetak
See,
versus all.
from Rana Sanga's descendants. After that, so Rana Sanga's descendants, one of the family was Maharana Pratap. So Maharana Pratap of Chittor. So the Mughals and the kingdom of Chittor had been complete enemies from the very, very beginning, and they were completely against each other. So that enmity never ceased. That enmity was always there, and Maharana Pratap and Akbar remained enemy throughout their lives. But you know, this is a saying that even Akbar accepted and said that, you know, for Maharana Pratap, he said that, you know, he is one person who is Akbar's match, because Maharana Pratap never bowed down his head to Akbar for any kind of protection or anything. Even when he lost Chittor, the Chittor fort was lost. Then he was on the run, and then they founded the city of Udaipur, named after his father, Uday Singh. Anyone been to Udaipur? The palace of
no,
Udaipur
ma'am.
and all.
Yeah.
If you visit, so you will find there. And Maharana Pratap was one person who remained Akbar's enemy. But Maharana Pratap was a very, very brave, and you know, his valor was separate of its kind. He never knew how to bow down. He was tall, he was well built, he was strong, and it is believed that he was an excellent horseman. Maharana Pratap was one of the bravest.
Yes, ma'am. He ride on his horse, Chetak, ma'am.
Chetak. So later on in life, just like Babur and Rana Sanga had fought a fierce battle, you will find one fierce battle fought between, there was a fierce battle between Akbar and Rana Pratap. It was known as
In Haldigati. Battle of Haldigati.
He was just 34 years old, ma'am. Rana Sanga was the great grandfather of Rana
Not
Pratap.
so many great, but yes.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah.
He was a descendant. You will see that the battle of Haldi Ghati, you know, it is named so because the place where the battle was fought, Haldi Ghati, the soil is like yellowish, like turmeric in color.
Haldi.
Like haldi. The soil there is yellowish in color.
Please drink some water.
And you will see.
Ma'am, I want to say something, ma'am.
Tell.
Ma'am, when Haldigati was fought, Akbar was only 34 years. He was a young boy.
34, we don't say
34
only.
years is not that
We don't
young.
say only. That is the main young time, you know, a lot of energy and all to fight. But Maharana Pratap, you know, okay, a small thing about last year, I gave them the project on Battle of Haldi Ghati. So we were discussing this also. Battle of Haldi Ghati was very, very decisive a battle. And it has a narrow pass like this, a narrow road. What Maharana Pratap did was, and he was helped by a person called the Bhils. Bhils were a tribe of that region. So they were on the side of the of Maharana Pratap. So Maharana Pratap and the Bhils were there, and Akbar's army was there. But Akbar's army, do you know what a strange thing? Akbar's army was being led by the Rajput chief Man Singh. So one Rajput against another Rajput. It actually,
competition, I guess.
Though it was Akbar's army, but the Akbar's army main commander was Man Singh, who was himself a Rajput. So for initially Maharana Pratap was winning, but later on, you know, through battle tactics, what happened was Man Singh was able to Man Singh was able to bring Akbar's army down. Akbar, I'm saying Maharana Pratap's army in control. Now, one of Maharana Pratap's officers, he saw that there is no way to save the king, and the only thing to keep the hope of getting back Chittor was if they save Pratap. So what he did was he wore Maharana Pratap's suit and dressed as the king himself and made Maharana Pratap leave on his horse, Chetak. Chetak was one of the fastest horses of that time. One of the fastest and unparalleled. Chetak was his. It was like
He was
you need
compared
to-
to
you need not give any instruction to Chetak. Chetak knew what to do.
Yes.
So Chetak was badly wounded in the war, but still, you know, he took Rana Pratap. Rana Pratap was also wounded. He took the wounded Rana Pratap and ran so fast, so much away from the battlefield that, you know, for Chetak and this officer, Maharana Pratap's life was saved. He dressed up as the king, and when Man Singh got hold of him, they realized that it was not Pratap anymore. By that time, they had helped Pratap run away, so that later on, Pratap can again plan a attack on Akbar's army and win over. So, but
But
Chetak
ma'am, Rana
crossed
Pratap's
the
army
river.
was badly defeated and he lost many men.
He was badly defeated. Chetak was badly wounded, but it is believed he crossed the
Died.
river with his master, almost unconscious on his back. He crossed the river. He saved his master's life, and when he made his master's life safe, then it is said slowly, he had lost so much blood. Chetak had lost so much blood that he saved his life and he himself died. So there are many songs in the praise of Chetak, and wherever you go, you will always find Chetak along with Maharana Pratap's statue. If you go to Udaipur, it's there.
Yes.
It's a huge statue with him and his
black statue.
and they have lots of songs in praise of Chetak. So a horse, see how much animals can be our faithful, our friend, our beside us. So this is something to really appreciate. Anyway, the Battle of Haldi Ghati was won by Akbar and his army, of course. Other than that, he also won.
Something?
Please say.
Ma'am, imagine living in those older times where a female was worth a signature on a peace treaty. That's how much a female was worth.
True. I cannot say that, because in case of education, in case of taking decisions, women were not even allowed to come out in open, and there were lots of restrictions. Can't be, I cannot deny that. Okay. See
Ma'am,
here.
so there was a TV show.
Okay, let me finish
there
this
was a
part, then
Hindi-
I'm saying one thing. So apart from Haldi Ghati, which was a very important, so Panipat and Haldi Ghati, these two battles are very important. Apart from that, see, these are Akbar's other conquests. He won over Bengal and Gujarat, very important because these two were port areas. This helped in expanding his trade through the waterways. Then Akbar annexed Kabul, Kashmir, Kandahar and Sindh. These areas, when he got hold of these areas, this opened up land trade routes. Land trade routes were opened, and what happened was, very easily now trade started flourishing in his kingdom. Okay, so these were his some other important conquests, but very importantly, learn about Haldi Ghati and learn about Akbar's policies with Rajputs, and definitely the second battle of Panipat. This much is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so
Yes, ma'am.